Okay, so we did our first two classes online together. The first one was about how important it is to have a tzaddik that you're connected to, someone that you believe in, someone that you can trust, someone that you resonate with, someone that can give you advice in all areas of your life. And in terms of chassidut, this is called a true tzaddik, a tzaddik emet, okay? The reason we started with that is because that's the key to being close to Hashem. And therefore, in the second class that we did last week, we spoke about simple emunah in Hashem, throwing everything on Hashem. Everything. To give everything in your life over to Hashem only, okay? Now, I was thinking about what to speak about this week. Part of what I wanted to, I discussed Sunday, so I hope that some of you that were there for the men-women's class. And then I was asking Hashem to give me a sign or something about what I should speak about tonight. And then right after that, I actually got an email. So when you start to do Ibodedut and you start to really depend on Hashem and rely on Hashem, and Hashem sees that you're real and you're really trying, you'd be surprised how much you get your prayers answered and how quickly you get them answered. So as soon as I asked Hashem, please, what should I speak about? I got an email from a student, okay? I'm not going to say the student's name. It's private, obviously. But I am going to give you over the gist of what she said. And this is what we're going to speak about today. So she explained to me in the email that she thought that once she found Hashem and once she became Bali Tshuva, that she would no longer have to deal with some of the issues that she had been dealing with in her life, specifically sadness. And she's surprised and frustrated about the fact that even though she's trying to do what Hashem wants according to whatever she's being told, and I'm sure she's trying very hard and struggling and falling and getting back up many, many times, she's still confronted by waves of depression, of sadness. And she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know why this is happening. And she wants to know how to experience inner joy. So I'll tell you, when I read this email, I had a lot of feelings inside of me because I resonate very deeply with that email and that experience. I'm going to always be honest with you guys, as honest as I can be. And it's important that everyone who listens knows that I am a lifelong sufferer of depression. That ever since I've been very, very young, since about 10 years old, I have off and on almost every single year growing up suffered from a depressive episode. Many people didn't know that. I was very good at hiding it. And I thought as I got older and things changed, it would get better. And when I finally realized that Hashem was real and the Torah was real, I thought that was it. I thought the whole issue was that I didn't have meaning in my life. And that once I found it and I found out who I was, I would be happy. And in fact, after I became Bal Tshuva, I suffered from my worst depressive episodes that I ever had. Ones that put me in a psych ward, ones that had me contemplating suicide. I'm sorry if this class is very raw for anyone who hasn't listened to these classes before. But for the one person who asked me the email, and for anyone else who's listening, I hope that I'm speaking to somebody right now to give you hope and to give you conviction and courage to know that it's going to get much, much, much better. And therefore, I'm just trying to be as honest as I can with you, okay? One of the reasons that it was so frustrating for me is that everyone I spoke to made it seem like, all the rabbis made it seem like, as soon as you connect to Hashem and you do what He wants, you're going to be happy and everything's going to be good. And that was not the case. I struggled more after. Besides the fact that I had to alienate myself from my friends and my family, just for the sake of trying to follow what I believe was the truth, it was just so hard. I can't even describe how hard it was. And then to get married and to try to have children, and even when I wasn't mentally necessarily ready because I was in that state, because I was trying to do what Hashem wanted. And the struggle was tremendous, and there's no words to describe it. And everybody I spoke to made it seem like, you know, that when you are close to Hashem, those things don't happen to you, okay? And then I found Rav Nachman. And Rabbi Nachman was the first person that I ever heard not only avoid this topic, not only say it doesn't exist, but to speak to it deeply and to speak to it with wisdom and to speak to it with encouragement and to speak to it from his heart as someone himself who went through all of these things. And we're going to go over some of the things that he talks about in this area because it's very enlightening just to know why these things are happening to us and how to deal with them and also to get encouragement. So I'm going to start with a piece from the Likutei Moharan. We never did this together. I only usually teach the Likutei Moharan to men. But I've taken ideas from there. Obviously, everything that I say is really something from Rabbi Nachman, and it's often from this Sefer, which is his book that he worked on his whole life. And I really feel like it's life-saving in so many different ways. And I'm going to give you over something that he says, okay? I'm going to say it in Hebrew, and then I'm going to translate it in English. I'm going to do my best. And then after that, I'm going to try and illuminate where the sadness comes from. And I want you to please do your very best. Sorry. 1 second. To do your very best to have an open mind about what I'm going to say, okay? This is a very soft topic. This is a very sensitive topic, what I'm going to speak about. Most rabbis are not going to speak about this, but I have to. I have to talk to you about it because it's so important and it's plaguing us and it's very vital, and therefore I hope Hashem should help me. So he says like this. This is the 48th lesson in the second part of Likutei Moharan. That when any person comes to try and serve Hashem, the way that they show him is rejection. So who's they? Shemayim, heaven. That the spiritual forces in the world, they show you and they make it seem to you like you're being rejected. It appears as though he's being distanced from Hashem, meaning Hashem is distancing from him. And he's altogether being prevented from being close to Hashem. And in truth, the truth is, in reality, that all of this distancing is only and nothing other than in order to be brought near. So meaning that the whole reason that while you're trying to be close to Hashem, that it feels like he's pushing you away. And it feels like your life is pushing you away, and your husband is pushing you away, and your job is pushing you away, and your inner mind is pushing you away, that everything is pushing you away. That Rav Nachman says that this is what happens anytime a person grows up secular and he wants to be close to Hashem. That the initial thing that he goes through is to feel like he is being rejected. But all of this rejection and all of this confusion is only in order to actually bring you closer. And you need great, tremendous encouragement and courage that you should keep from being sad at all, that you should keep from feeling dejected at all. Chas v'shalom. Even if you see that many days have passed, that many months have passed, that many years have passed, and you don't feel any closer to the person that you always wanted to be, that you don't feel closer to Hashem, that you don't feel closer to peace or to truth, or to happiness, or to connection. That despite his great exertion, and you're trying to be close to Hashem, you feel so far. You haven't even felt that you even begun to experience the light of Hashem. That you see that you're still riddled with connection to materialism, to powerful, disturbing thoughts, to confusion. And whatever truly good thing that you want to do in your life, and especially in your connection to Hashem, they're not giving you any rest. Who is they? So they is the Sitra Achra. There are negative forces in this world that Hashem created to try and give us free will so that we can earn tremendous reward for all of this effort that we're putting in. But they are real, and they give you a very hard time. And when do they give you the hardest time? When you want to be close to Hashem. And specifically when you grew up secular, when you grew up very far. What's the reason for that? We'll get there in a minute. It appears to you Hashem doesn't see you at all. He doesn't desire your service whatsoever. Sorry, it's hard for me to read this without crying. Because he sees that you are repeatedly screaming and begging and pleading and crying to Hashem that he should assist you in any way at all. And yet, you still feel so far. That Hashem doesn't see you at all. He's not turning to you whatsoever. Because he doesn't want you. For this you need tremendous strength. You need to encourage yourself in a way you can't possibly imagine. That you're able to pay no attention to this whatsoever. Because in truth, all of this distancing is only to bring you close. And you're not the only one who's going through this, and you're not the only one who's ever gone through this. Because every true tzaddik that ever lived, and we've heard it from their own mouths, that appeared to them, tzaddikim, people that they wrote books about, people that we follow their advice and we live according to them. They felt as if Hashem didn't care about them, didn't see them, didn't look at them at all. That this was the majority of their time in the beginning. That they desired and they toiled and they tried so hard to be close to Hashem. And they felt so far. And if not for the fact that they did not strengthen themselves and they didn't pay any attention to this whatsoever, they would still be in that same place. They would still be in the same place we're all in. And they wouldn't have merited everything that they merited and gave to us. Rav Nachman is saying the only difference between us sitting here and those tzaddikim that we learn from, that we're motivated by, that encourage us, that inspire us, is they never gave up. That they weren't pushed off their space. That no matter what happened to them, they did not listen to the negativity. Not from the outside and not from the inside. They just kept going. They just kept listening to that inner voice inside of them that told them that there was something better, that there was something more beautiful, that there was something more truthful, that there was something more real, something happier. This is the rule. My dear brother, my dear sister, Chazak va'amatz me'od. You need to be very strong and courageous. Ve'choz atzmecha bechol hakochot l'sha'er kayam b'avodatecha. And you need to muster all of the strength that you have within your being. Va'al tachush. And you should not be concerned. Va'al histakel klal. And pay attention to this at all. Ol keyotze bazeh. Or anything like this. Where is depression coming from? What is sadness? He brings the Zohar. And he says, Atzvu ti sitra achra. When we think about sadness, we think about it as a normal emotion, a normal experience, a normal response to life. The Zohar, the deepest mystical text of the Torah, which has the deepest wisdom that we have, it says that sadness is the sitra achra. Sadness is the other side. Sadness is Satan. Sadness is the Yetzer Hara. Rav Nachman says elsewhere that the entire war in a Jew in his lifetime, between Yaakov and Esav, between the Jew and the sitra achra, the Yetzer Hara, is between happiness and sadness. Sadness is not normal. Sadness is the worst thing that exists in this world. Sadness is coming from the darkest, most evil place that there is. Sadness is not a normal response to this world. Sadness comes from the Yetzer Hara. And it's so important that we know that. Because Rav Nachman says you need to do whatever you can to stay as far away as possible from sadness, even if that means acting foolish, like an idiot. Because sadness is the deepest, deepest, deepest darkness. And it brings you away from everything that's good in your life. And it's not coming from Hashem. It's not coming from a good place. Don't touch it. Don't go near it. Anything that makes you feel sad, stop thinking about it. Anything that makes you feel down, stop listening to it. We think that evil is when someone murders somebody. We think that evil is when someone steals from somebody. The Zohar says evil is sadness. You need to be extremely stubborn in trying to be close to Hashem when you have come from nothing. And that you do not move from your place, no matter what comes your way. And he says, V'dan, you should know, an individual can already literally be at the gates of godliness, that he has toiled for weeks or for months or for years, and he's literally about to break through. And at that very moment, he turns back because of his confusion or her confusion. Or even when he gets close to the entrance, that the sitra achra, that Satan, he increases the confusion, he increases the disturbing thoughts right before you're about to come in, because he sees that if you come in, he's done. He has no power over you anymore. Not the power that he had over you during your childhood, not during your adulthood, not in your marriage, not as a parent. That darkness that you've experienced your whole life is about to be vanished. And like an animal that's about to go extinct, he then puts on every single pressure, a full court press, to confuse you, to disturb you, to make you feel that this is never going to get better, that you are in despair. And he will overwhelm you with tremendous power. The and on account of this person, this man, this woman who has come so far to try and be close to Hashem, turns back at the very moment he's about to enter into everything he's been looking for. Umechamad zeh hu hozer la'achor. Ki ken derech habal davar v'sitra acher. Because this is the way of the sitra acher. This is the way of Satan. Adam samuch samuch mamash. That when he sees that a person is mamash close to being close to Hashem, l'sharei kedusha, to enter into the light of all that's good, v'chamat shenichnos, it mounts a very powerful assault on that person. Gadol me'od me'od, incredible. Rachmana litzlan, Hashem should save us. Al ken tzarich ad chiskakut gadol nigdo, and accordingly one needs great encouragement to counter it. V'shamanu mitzadik amiti shamar, and we heard from the true tzaddik, and we know that he was speaking about himself. She'ilu haya omer lo achad, had anyone ever told this person who was trying to be close to Hashem, who sacrificed so much and gave up so much to try and cross that bridge, to try and leave their darkness, to try and connect to what's good and what's right and what's loving and what's happy, what's beautiful. Yeah, Mishiyeh. If anybody told me when I first started to serve Hashem, Achai, my brother, my sister, Chazak be'echuz atzmecha, strengthen yourself, be courageous. Haiti ratz umi zorez me'od b'avadat Hashem yiparach. Not to pay attention to these things at all and just to run to Hashem with everything that you have. Ki gam alav avar kol, because all of this is going to pass and go away. V'lo haya shomeh shum hitchazut mishum adam. And yet that tzaddik didn't hear any encouragement. He was speaking about himself. Despite the fact that the Rav Nachman was the great-grandson of the Baal Shem Tov, he was alienated as a child. He didn't have friends. He didn't have family that supported him. He didn't have people around him who encouraged him in the service of Hashem. He didn't get any chizik whatsoever. And he said if he had heard any encouragement at all, he would have been much closer to Hashem than he was. And that's hard for us to believe because of what he's doing now for all of us. But imagine for us, and he's telling us, be strong and muster up everything that you have to be courageous in what you believe in your heart to be true. Because you could be knocking on that gate, you could be knocking on that door and about to enter into all that's good. And Satan is going to do everything that he can not to have you do that, to confuse you, to give you feelings of sadness and anger, of confusion, of fright, of fears. And therefore, anyone who really truly wants to be close to Hashem, Yizkor zot etiv, remember what I'm saying very well. Strengthen yourself all the way. And just do whatever you can to be close to Hashem, whatever that is. Then I promise you that as days pass, as years pass, with Hashem's help, you will be close to Hashem and you will enter into the door of all that's good. Because Hashem is Maleh Rachamim. Hashem has tremendous empathy. Hashem has tremendous compassion. Hashem loves you in a way that you can't possibly understand. So do not give up. Because all of this distancing is only to bring you closer. That's not the whole piece. It's just a little bit of the piece. It's a very important message to hear. This is something that I've looked at many, many, many times, that within every crying fit that I've had, that within every confusion, that within every doubt that I've had, I turn back to messages like this and it got me through. Barely. I remember when I was in a psych ward, I was there for months. They wouldn't even let me out. I had to ask for permission to put on tefillin there, and they had to watch me do it. The whole time I was there, I was just reading Rabbi Nachman's Torah over and over and over again. People came up to me and they said to me, how are you learning right now? How are you doing anything if you're so sad? Because the light of Rabbi Nachman was the only thing that was keeping me going. That hope that this can get better no matter what. And then everything changed for me. Everything changed for me. Because I said to myself, that's it. I have lived my life one way, and I've tried as hard as I possibly can to be happy, and it didn't work. It's not working. It's not working then, and it's not working now. Rabbi Nachman says, talk to Hashem every day and give him all of your tzarot. Give him all of your problems. Stop trying to solve them yourself. And I said, that's it. I have nothing left. This is what I'm going to do. From now on, Rabbi Nachman says, take an hour to talk to Hashem, to throw everything on him. I'm going to do that. From now on, I'm done listening to anybody, even rabbis, who make me feel for 1 second that there's not hope, who make me feel for one moment that nothing or something is not Hashem's ratzon, that my issues are psychological or emotional or physical or historical, or that they're genetic. I'm only going to listen to people who are teaching me about emunah, about faith, that everything is from Hashem. All the good and all the bad, it's all coming from the same exact place. It's all coming from Hashem. And there's nothing to fear at all besides Hashem himself. And I did that, and it was very hard for me. But I stopped listening to anyone or anything besides Breslov rabbis, not because I think it's the only way, but because I was running out of answers. And they were the only ones who were giving me hope. And while I was doing that, I was pouring my heart out to Hashem every day, thanking him for what I was going through and begging him for help. And my whole life changed. I started to develop emunah. I started to be very clear to me that everything was Hashem. Everything was coming from Hashem. And I started to have the courage and the strength to not only move forward with that in my life, but to try and give it over to others. And that's the whole reason we're sitting here right now listening to this. Because I was on the brink of this not happening at all and not being here. And I gave myself over to Hashem completely. And that is the distancing for the sake of drawing close. Because our generation is souls that are sparks from the Mashiach. And the Mashiach is emunah. The Mashiach is tefillah. The Mashiach has a feminine soul. His soul yearns to be close to Hashem and to talk to Hashem and to give everything over to Hashem. And the only way for us to get to a point that we do that is often when nothing works. And all the distancing is only to bring you so close. And when you get close like that, then you can say thank you to Hashem, because you're going to realize that all of the suffering in your life, all of the bullying, all of the torment, all of the emotional confusion, and all of the abuse was only to bring you this close, that it's you and Hashem, and you realize that He is the only good that there is. And then you have everything. And then you have everything. And then your relationships with your wife or your husband is good. And then your relationship with your children is good. And then your work is good. And you're happy. And you realize that all the distancing was just to be brought close. I want to tell you something right now that most rabbis are not going to speak about, but Rabbi Nachman speaks a lot about. And I could tell you, after going through all of this, my whole life, and then to go through this email that she spoke about, that I experienced as well, to be where I'm at right now, and to tell you what Rabbi Nachman says, that the cause of all sadness is a lack of emunah. And a lack of emunah comes from secular wisdom. What is secular wisdom? I know that this is not popular, what I'm about to say, and I want you to know I didn't grow up religious, okay? I have no agenda. I'm just telling you this is my experience. This is what Rabbi Nachman says, and this is why Breslovers are happy, okay? Rabbi Nachman says you should stay as far away as possible from secular wisdom because it's the cause of all sadness. What is secular wisdom? When Adam Arishon, the first man, and Chava, the first woman, who were conscious, were created, Hashem said, don't eat from the tree of knowledge. Wait till Shabbat and eat from the tree of life. What was the tree of life? It's the Torah. It's the Torah. It's the wisdom that Hashem gave us to be close to Him. What is the tree of knowledge? Anything that's not that. Rav Nachman says that any wisdom that you learn that doesn't make you feel close to Hashem is not wisdom at all. It's what you leave in the bathroom right before you flush it. And I'm not trying to be so explicit or extreme. I'm just trying to tell you how serious this is. When you learn anything, and that doesn't mean that you're studying, it means that you're absorbing information. And that information is not in order to try and bring you closer to Hashem. Rav Nachman says you don't know how deeply that information affects you. That just like Adam and Chava, they ate from that tree, and Hashem says when you eat from that tree, you're going to die. But they didn't die after that. So what do you mean they're going to die? It doesn't make sense. How can Hashem say you're going to die? But they never died. They lived a very long time after that. And the answer is what the Zohar says, what Rabbi Nachman says, that death is a term that's used in the Torah for sadness. That there is no death besides sadness. Sadness is death. That Hashem was telling Adam and Chava, don't eat from that tree, because the day you eat from that tree, you're going to die, meaning you're going to be depressed. You're going to be sad. Because that wisdom is not wisdom at all. Wisdom means it's good for you. That's what wisdom is. When you hear something, information isn't automatically wisdom, despite what our generation thinks. Just because you go on Facebook or you go on Instagram and you hear an article about something that somebody wrote and they sound very passionate and they sound like they know what they're talking about. And that's information. That doesn't mean that's wisdom. Wisdom means it's good for you. And there's nothing that's good for you except that it makes you happy and it brings you close to Hashem. If something does not do that, it's not wisdom at all. And that's the tree of knowledge that Adam died from, even though he didn't die. That he was sad. And we are Adam. Adam was not just a physical person. Adam is each and every one of us. The Torah is not a history book. The Torah is a spiritual guide to our inner reality, our psychological reality. We're all Adam and Chava. And Hashem is saying to us at every moment, you have two choices in your life. You can choose the tree of life, or you can choose the other tree. And on the day and in the moment that you eat from that tree, you are going to die. Meaning you are going to be sad. Because Hashem has nothing to do with sadness. Because the Torah has nothing to do with despair. Rav Nachman says there's no such thing in the world as despair at all. It doesn't exist. What about a person who has stage 4 cancer? No despair. What about a person who's in a deep depressive episode and they've been there for years? No despair. Any despair that you might feel, it's not real. Where is it coming from? It's coming from things that you have learned. Things that you learned from your society. Things that you learned from your family. Things that you learned from your government and from your country. Things that you grew up with in secular life. And if this sounds extreme to you, I want you to think about all of the people that you know. The people who care about you. The people who have not taken this path with you. Are they happy? Are any of them happy? These celebrities that we look up to, these actors and these musicians, how many of them have attempted suicide? How many of them are divorced? How many of them do you hear have tremendous inner emotional turmoil? They have not figured out how to be happy. Rabbi Nachman knows how to be happy. Breast lovers know how to be happy because there is no such thing in the world as despair at all. It doesn't exist. Sadness is not real. It comes from a lie. The lie that this is not going to get better, that you have no hope. It is sheker. It's a lie. And as soon as you eat from that tree and you believe in it, it's death. And you don't need someone to convince you of it because you've experienced it. There is nothing worse than being sad. There is nothing worse. Rav Nachman says people think Gehenna is in the next world. Hell is not in the world. It's in this world. When you are sad in this world, that's called being in hell. And you don't need me to tell you that because you've experienced it. Rav Shalom Arush says that Gan Eden, and it says this in the Torah, that Gan Eden and Gehenna are right next to each other. Heaven and hell are right next to each other. What's separating them? Va'ara says one thing, emunah. Do you believe in Hashem completely or not? If you believe in Hashem completely, you're in Gan Eden even when you're in this world. You feel like you're in the next world and this world. The same joy, the same happiness, the same connection, the same peace, the same truth. And if you don't have emunah, hell is not for then. Hell is right now for you. And I know this firsthand. The key to being happy is emunah. And one of the main reasons that we do not feel complete emunah in Hashem is because we believe in something else. I want to show you this in the Torah. Avraham Avinu was the first Jew. And Avraham searched for Hashem his whole life. And he had to go through tremendous, tremendous upheaval, obstacles, inner and outer, to find Hashem. And when he finally did, and he finally talked to Hashem, and Hashem opened up, and Hashem said to him, for you to be close to me, you need to leave your land. You need to leave the place where you grew up. You need to leave your father's home and go to the place I'm going to show you. Why not just tell Abraham where you are? Why are you telling him where you're not? Tell Abraham where you are. He's been looking for you his whole life. He's given up everything to be close to you. Tell him where you are. He was telling him, I am everywhere. And the reason you can't experience that is because you're still living in your land. You're still living in the place you grew up. You're still living in your father's home. These places are not just physical places. They are psychological states of mind. That the place where you grew up is what you were taught. The land you grew up is the country you grew up in. The home you grew up in and what your parents taught you. The wisdom that they gave over to you. That Hashem was telling Abraham, I'm everywhere. I've been speaking to you since the beginning. I've always been here with you. But you can't experience that because you're still living in all of those places. You need to leave those places and go to the place I'm going to show you, which is right where you are. I remember the first time I tried this, and this is something I say to everybody. You don't have to believe Rabbi Nachman. Just try what he says. You'll see it's true. Try it. Doesn't have to say forever, I'm not going to look at it. I remember the first time I said to myself, I'm not going to look at any secular wisdom for 1 week and just see how I feel. It's scary to do that. I grew up secular. And you don't want people to feel like you're ignorant. You don't want people to feel like you lost your mind. You don't want to have nothing to connect with anybody. But it gets to a point, it's like, how have I come this far and struggled this much to find this good? And I'm going to let this one thing hold me back. Let me try for 1 week and see how I felt. My life completely changed from that. I felt close to Hashem at every moment. And it's only gotten more and more since then. What is secular wisdom? It's not just philosophy. It's anything that's not rooted in the truth of Torah. And I know that sounds overwhelming. And I know that sounds like maybe that would be too much for us to take on. But like I tell everybody, as hard as it is, it's harder not to. It's harder to be sad. It's harder to be angry. It's harder to be confused. There's nothing harder than those things. Hashem is everywhere. Hashem's been with you since the beginning. We don't have eyes to see it. We don't have ears to hear it. We don't have a heart to feel it because it's covered. It's covered over by lies. Why do we have two Mashiachs? Why is there a Mashiach ben Yosef and a Mashiach ben David? Why do we need both? And I heard from my Rabbi, who passed away, and this should be an aliyah of his neshama. He used to say that Mashiach ben Yosef takes you out of the secular world. Mashiach ben David takes the secular world out of you. Because there's two stages to being close to Hashem. And nobody's going to tell you this. Because nobody wants to discourage you from the difficulty and the challenge. But it's a very big disservice because then nobody knows what's going on. and they don't understand why they're going through what they're going through. Rabbi Nachman says, you need to know this. It's not enough to go to Israel. It's not enough to go to the seminary. It's not enough to do the mitzvot. That's you leaving your secular life behind, and that's a very important step, and you need to. But then the truly hard step is to bring the secular world out of you. Because there's a part of you that doesn't believe in Hashem 100%. And if you did, you couldn't get sad. And that's fine, and there's no blame there. As a person that has experienced it throughout my whole life, more intense than anybody I've ever met, I'm telling you right now, there is no judgment at all. I'm with you, okay? I've been there. I'm going, and I'm always with you. But I'm just telling you, when a person has complete emunah in Hashem, you can't get sad. Sadness comes from despair. Despair comes from not having hope. Not having hope comes from a lie. Rav Nachman used to say, Gavalt. Oi, there is no despair in the world at all. Even as he was throwing up blood from tuberculosis and his students all left because they couldn't see him like that. He said to them after, why are you leaving me? Why did you leave? I was about to teach you. They said, because we couldn't see our Rabbi like that. You're throwing up blood. It looked like you were dying. He said, what's wrong with you? There's nothing besides Hashem. Everything's for the good. There's no despair in the world at all. At the end of that Torah that I just said, Rabbi Nachman says his most famous line, which they just put in a newspaper in New York. And he says, V'da, you should know. Sha'adam tzarich lavod al gesher tzar me'od me'od. A person must cross a very, very narrow bridge. V'klal v'ikar. And the rule is, the essence is, the main thing is, shelo yitpached klal. Don't be afraid at all. Don't be afraid at all. When the Baal Shem Tov was a little child, Rabbi Nachman's great-grandfather, who was the creator of Chassidus, the wisdom that Rabbi Nachman teaches and brings down for us in a way that's accessible for our generation. His father passed away when he was very young. And before he passed away, and the Baal Shem Tov was orphaned by both his parents, his father said to him, Yisrael, listen to me. I want you to know two things. And live with these two things, and don't think about anything else the rest of your life. Yirat Hashem. You should only believe in Hashem. Only fear Hashem. And love every single Jew with all your heart. That's it. The Baal Shem Tov teaches that if you have a fear about anything, that's not fear of Hashem, which I'm sure for every single one of us, that's 100% of our anxiety, is not coming because we have Yirat Hashem. It's coming because we're worried about how we're going to pay our bills. It's coming because we're worried about if we're ever going to get married, if anybody's going to ever love me, if I'm ever going to love myself. It's coming from self-doubt and self-demonization. It's not coming from Yirat Hashem. Yirat Hashem leads to peace. It doesn't lead to anxiety. The Baal Shem Tov says, if you have any of these fears, don't pay attention to them for 1 second because they're coming from a lie. They're not real. Not at all. But the reason we can't see that is because our hearts are covered over by something that's called secular wisdom, which is not wisdom at all. And in fact, it's keeping us away from all of our dreams. Everything we've always wanted. That we're all close to breaking through that gate. That we all went through tremendous hardship to take this road together and alone. Think about what we spoke about tonight, okay? Regardless of the question that's going to come over, I know I spoke very intensely. This is a very, very deep topic for me. This is something that is very close to my heart. And I can't explain to what extent I've been through this. And what Rabbi Nachman and the Torah and his teachings have done to save my life and have saved the life of literally millions of people. This isn't dogma. This isn't puritanical. This is to be a real person, to be a Jew, to be close to Hashem, to feel that love and that peace and that excitement and that life force and that energy and that faith that we've been looking for our whole life, there is one huge thing getting in the way, and it's the one thing that we all refuse to let go of, and it's secular wisdom. And if you don't think you have it, believe me, you do. Because it's the only thing that's preventing you from believing in Hashem 100%. And once you believe in Hashem 100%, you're not sad at all. You'll only be happy the rest of your life. Does anybody have any questions from our class tonight? If you don't feel comfortable asking,
can you give us an example, Rabbi? Can you give us an example? Like, are you talking about like watching secular movies, or are you talking about, like, say at your work, you need to learn a specific new topic, a new regulation, a new something related to work?
I'm definitely talking about movies. I'm definitely talking about television. And
what about it? I'm sorry.
In terms of work, Rabbi Nachman was a very big fan that you learned the trade and you supported yourself. So anything you need to learn for your work is okay. But to understand even that when you're learning for your work, that wisdom that you're learning is not based on truth necessarily. You know, a doctor, it's a very dangerous field to be in as a Jew, because you're learning that you're in control of people's lives and you're not. And you're learning that things are going according to research and medicine and whatever science says, and it's not. And therefore, it could be very damaging to your faith. I can't tell you how many therapists and psychologists I saw, and every single time that I saw one, I came away more down, more hurt, more confused. Why? Because every time I left there, I felt more despair. Because I gave myself over to a belief that something else can help me besides Hashem, and when it didn't work out, like it never does, you end up feeling even more lost and confused. All of these shows that we watch are lies. All of these people that you see on Facebook, that they look like they're having a happy relationship, they don't. I can't tell you how many people that I've seen that you see their Facebook pictures and you're like, wow, you know, I wish me and my husband were doing that. I wish me and my wife were doing that. I wish we had that. And they're divorced a year later. It's not real. And even if you think, okay, I'm just looking, I'm not being affected by it. Oh, it's not true. And the rabbis who are trying to get you to stop, it's not because they want you to be secluded from reality. It's because they want you to tap into reality. That's not reality. Rav Nachman says in the last generation that Satan, the Yetzer Hara, is going to be the power of your own imagination. Meaning that your biggest obstacle is going to be in your own mind. And where is that coming from? It's coming from the things that you are watching and learning and experiencing. When you learn anything that's not rooted in the truth, it is called a lie. And those lies affect you, even if you think that they're not. And they're keeping you from believing in Hashem 100%. Now, if you get to a certain level and a certain ability that your emunah is so strong, then you're capable of looking at those things and going back into that world. And Chassidut very much believes in lifting up all of those things. But that takes tremendous amount of foundation and emunah and faith, which for a secular Jew who grows up secular, who has been involved in all of the things which disconnect you from any spiritual life whatsoever, and now you're trying as hard as you can that you look the part and that you act the part, but you don't feel the part. You don't believe the part. And the reason is because you're not letting go of that one thing. That one thing that the world is teaching you, if you let go of it, you're not a normal human being. You left this world. And I know it's scary. I know it's scary, but that's why I'm saying if you try for 1 week, you know, we have 1 week left of Sirat Omer. Don't say I'm going to do this forever. Tell yourself, I've lived my life this way. I've tried this. This is how it's worked for me. Let me try for 1 week, for 1 day, to do what Rabbi Nachman says. It sounds like he doesn't have an agenda. It sounds like he's been through a lot in his life. It sounds like he knows a lot. Maybe I should try. There's a reason 100,000 people went to Uman last year, and there was a lot of women there for Hanukkah. It's a very good trip, by the way. And there's a reason why millions more, that their lives are being changed every day because of Rabbi Nachman's wisdom. It's because it's all true. Everything he says is true, and you don't need to believe me, you just do it and you'll see. And we need it. You know, I can't tell you how many calls I'm getting, emails I'm getting of people who are in despair, who are contemplating things, and who are on the verge of going on medications and things like this. I'm not against anything, but I'm just telling you. The problem is you don't believe in Hashem. That's the only problem. And that's not your fault. But that's the starting point, to know that. And when you believe in Hashem completely, which means that you realize that a leaf doesn't turn unless he wants it to. That you don't get into a fight with your husband unless he wants you to. That you don't have self-doubts unless he wants you to. That nothing happens unless Hashem wants it to. Then you can start to believe in Hashem. Because Hashem is the one who pays your bills. And Hashem is the one who's going to give you peace between you and your husband. It's not when he stops being busy with his friends. It's not when he starts to pay attention to you. It's not when he puts down whatever those influences you think it is. It is when you realize that it's all Hashem. There is nothing else besides Hashem, and you pour your heart out to him completely and you trust him alone. And then everything will heal. And you'll realize that the whole reason that you were being distanced was only to be brought so close. And the further Rav Nachman says you are from real faith, the more you can have in the end. This is very important for you to know. I was an atheist my whole life. I never could ever believe, you could never pay me any amount of money and tell me in 5 years from now you're going to be a rabbi and you're going to be speaking to people and trying to help them have a munah in Hashem. I would think that you are the biggest joke. I would probably make fun of you and say terrible things that I would regret at this point in my life. But here I am. And what's the reason? Because Rav Nachman says, to the degree that you are far from truth, to the degree that you're far from Emunah, which is every secular Jew, to that degree in the end, you can have the most intense level of Emunah. It says in the Gemara that a tzaddik can't stand in the same place as a Baal Tshuva. That someone who has been learning and praying and connected to the truth their whole life, they cannot stand in the same spiritual place as a Baal Tshuva who goes all the way. Because the greatest souls fall to the lowest places. And the only reason Hashem does that is because only you are capable of going all the way back up. But to do that takes tremendous courage and effort and self-sacrifice. And trust. Not trust in everyone, but trust in something. Trust in someone. Trust in Hashem. If in the classes that you have learned with us, of Rabbi Nachman's teachings, that you have resonated, that you have felt that he is speaking to you, that there's something real here, that there's something honest here, that there's something truthful here, that there's something hopeful here. I beg you, for your own mental health, for your own psychological health, for your own spiritual health, don't be afraid to trust his advice. Try it out. Just try it. Over the course of the weeks that we're going to have together, we are going to be talking about different things that he gives us to do, things to think about, things to try. Just try it. And you will see that it makes all the difference in the world. And again, I'm speaking like this because I can't see people suffering anymore. It's killing me. Because there's nothing wrong with anyone here. You're all beautiful people. You're all amazing people. You have all tried your very hardest to have good in your life, to be close to Hashem, to have a good family, to have good friends, to feel good about yourself. And we've all ended up falling short. And it's not your fault. You have to know it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you. You're a good person. The issue is simply, we do not have truth in our life. We do not have good advice. Rabbi Nachman is truth. Rabbi Nachman has the greatest advice. Try it. Just try it. Someone on the bottom asked me, can we donate? Again, I don't feel comfortable talking about money, and I don't, especially not after a conversation like this. But if you feel that you want to contribute to this project, that you resonate with this, that you want this to go forth and that these teachings should spread further, and that you feel that more people can use this type of inspiration and encouragement and this type of truth and advice, then email us at sionbreslovproject@gmail.com, and you can also donate to the Chase Quick Pay. People asking me about specifics. It's going to take a lot of time to talk about this and to figure out what this means. What does secular wisdom mean? Simply means, at least for today, because we're not going to be able to go into all of it, anything that you're not doing for the sake of being close to Hashem. Anything that you're learning for the sake of being not being close to Hashem. And that you're going to have to think about and talk about to Hashem and your Ibodah, to talk to Hashem. And I ask you for this week, for yourself, you've tried it your way. I've tried it my way. Try it a different way. You know, I know in diets, it's very popular to have like a detox diet. Try a spiritual detox diet for 1 week. We have 1 week of Sfirat HaOmer until we receive the Torah anew, until we receive the revelation of godliness, of goodness, of love and peace and truth in our life. Let's try and make ourselves a vessel for that. You do that by emptying yourself of anything that's not true and filling yourself up only with truth. That means learning the wisdom of Rabbi Nachman. That means learning his advice and trying to apply it. That means talking to Hashem every day for an hour a day at least and pouring everything on him. Hashem, I want to trust in you. I want to believe in you. I want to rely on you. Someone asked me, what are some words of encouragement for somebody else? The truth is, you're not going to be able to encourage anybody until you are encouraged. So my greatest advice to you is, before you can start to work on encouraging those who are around you, work on filling your cup up now. Not because it's selfish, because it's the most selfless thing that you can do. You need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in your emunah. You need to invest in your physical and spiritual life, and to try and encourage yourself to go all the way with it. Because it's one thing to look religious, and that's very nice, but that's not what Hashem had in mind. To wear a black hat doesn't make you religious. To have a beard doesn't make you religious. To wear black and white doesn't make you religious. To be tzniut doesn't make you religious. To have a emunah makes you religious. To believe that there is Hashem and only Hashem, that makes you religious. Everything else can be the Yetzer Hara clothed in a mitzvah. Work on being close to Hashem, on believing in Hashem only. That means talking to him. The greatest piece of advice I can give you that Rabbi Nachman says very clearly, you want to believe more in Hashem, to trust only in Hashem, talk to him more. You want to believe more than that, talk more than that. You want to have complete emunah, talk all day. To the degree that you speak to Hashem, to that degree you're going to believe in him. And it's not psychological. It's a very deep spiritual phenomenon. To be religious means that you have emunah. It means you believe in Hashem. It means you believe in the Torah. It means you believe in the tzaddik. And lastly, it means that you believe in yourself. Rabbi Nachman once gave a lesson, and he said that when a person's trying to serve Hashem, and it's difficult, everything he does is difficult. His relationship is hard, his work is hard, his spiritual work is hard, his prayers are difficult to do, his learning is difficult to do, everything's hard. Rabbi Nachman says the reason is because you don't have emunah. So Rav Natan, who was his main student, he was disturbed by this. He said, what do you mean you don't have emunah? I have emunah. I only believe in Hashem, and everything in my life is hard. Why is everything in my life hard? So Rabbi Nachman says, yeah, you might think you believe in Hashem, but you don't believe in yourself. And Rabbi Nachman says that you do not believe in Hashem unless you believe in yourself. To the degree that you believe in Hashem, to that degree you also believe in yourself. So if you think you believe in Hashem and you don't believe in yourself, you don't really believe in Hashem. Because the part inside of you that's real, the spark of godliness that's inside each and every one of you, the one that's meant to illuminate this world with life, that's meant to illuminate your family with life and yourself with life. That part is God himself. That part is Hashem himself. That part that you've been looking to connect to within yourself forever, that you always felt was there, but you never knew how to. You need a tzaddik to help you. You need someone who has crossed that bridge. And I'll end with this. I was going to do Ibodedut. Like I told you guys, I do every day. I make sure no matter what, I talk to Hashem for at least an hour a day, if not more. And I go to the woods, and I go to the field, and I go to a river. I go somewhere in nature, because this is what Rabbi Nachman suggests to do, to give you peace of mind, so you're not distracted. And as I was going to the place I was going to, I saw a man who was running over. He was sweating profusely. He had a backpack on. He wasn't Jewish. And he said to me, do you know how to get to that side over there? I said, yeah, you just go through the bridge. You go through this path and you go through the bridge. So he said, yeah, but I started going down this path and it's a crazy path. There's rocks and then there's this and then there's that. It's true, I've been through that path. It's a very weird path. If you didn't know it goes to the other side, you would never think it takes you anywhere. And he was sweating. I could see he was frustrated. He was trying to get somewhere. And he probably went almost all the way to the end of the bridge and then came back. And I told him, I have been to the other side of this bridge. And the place that you just told me you want to go to, that bus stop is right on the other side. You just have to keep going. Rabbi Nachman has been through the bridge. From the lowest of places to that place that we all want to be in. And he says that bridge, even though it's very narrow and it's very constricting, when you go through it, the main thing to know is that there's no fear at all. You should have no despair at all, because you just need to keep going. And one day, at one moment, you are going to make it to the end of the bridge, and then you're going to be able to see. I remember I was working out with my wife a couple of days ago. We started working out together. And in the coronavirus, looking for things to do and to connect with. And we were doing 3 sets of something. And I remember that the first set, you always feel inspired. And then the second set, we were talking about it, it always feels like it's never going to end. And then the third set, again, you get like juiced up because you know it's going to end. So many people don't realize this. This world that we're in right now, this is the second step of a 3-step set in working out. Before your soul came down to this world, it was with Hashem. That was the first stage. And you were very happy there and you felt very close to Hashem. And at the same time, you didn't feel like you earned it. You didn't feel like you did anything for it, and therefore you felt that something was lacking as a result. And we asked Hashem, help us to feel close to you in a way that we feel that we earned it. And Hashem created this world so that we can come down here to achieve that. This world is not an end in and of itself. This lifetime is just a second stage. It's just the second set, and it never feels like it's going to end. But that's only because we do not realize that there's 3 sets. And when you understand that, you can get through the second set. The third set, the final stage, and the reason why we came down to this world to struggle like this is to be with Hashem forever, but not because Hashem gave it to us as a free gift, but because we achieved that. And that is going to be the greatest joy we're going to have, not for a year, not for a month, and not for years, not for 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000 years, but forever. And Hashem loves you. Hashem loves all of us in a way that you can't possibly imagine. And if Hashem put us down here, it means that this is the best possible way for us to experience all the good that He wants to give to us. And the only way to get to that end of that bridge is to have faith, is to believe that at the end, if you do not give up, you will find the good. That's my advice. I'm looking at these questions here. How do we know the cycle of being sad? Because I now feel guilty for even being sad. Don't feel guilty at all. Don't feel guilty, please. That's not what I'm trying to say. You need to get rid of the guilt completely. Get rid of guilt. There's no place for guilt. There's no place for guilt. You need to judge yourself favorably. Rav Nachman says that the key to being happy is to judge yourself favorably. When you go to speak to Hashem, start by talking about all your good points. And if you can't find any, look harder. Even though I'm struggling with this, I'm proud of myself that I haven't given up yet. That many people that I know could never have gone this far. Even though I haven't feel that I achieved anything, but I haven't given up. I can be proud of myself for that. The fact that I am courageous enough to go down this path that very few people have gone down on, and even though my family is not necessarily helping me or supporting me in it, I'm still going. Be proud of yourself for that. Whatever you can think of that you can make yourself proud of, start there. Because the lie is sadness. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty about it. It's not your fault. But now you know that the sadness is coming from a lie. And we have the ability, the only choice we have is whether we are going to eat from the tree of truth or the tree of lies. That's your choice moving forward. Try eating from the tree of truth and just see how you feel. See if you feel any different. I give each of you a blessing, okay? Take this last week and invest in yourself. Believe in yourself. Don't just look religious. Don't just act religious. Don't just do the mitzvot. The first mitzvah is believe in Hashem. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. I am Hashem your God. I took you out of Mitzrayim. I took you out of Mitzrayim. You're not there anymore. You're not a slave anymore. You're not a slave to your emotions. You're not a slave to your fears. You don't have to do that anymore. I'm here for you. I got you. Just give yourself over to me and I will take care of you, I promise. But to the degree that you believe in me, to that degree I can help you. If you believe in me 25%, I will help you 25%. If you believe in me 75%, I will help you 75%. If you lay everything on me, I promise you, you are not a slave. I took you out of Mitzrayim a long time ago. You are a free woman. You are a free man. You're a ben chorin. You're a bat chorin. Chorina, I don't know how to speak Hebrew yet, but I'm working on it, okay? You are a free person. You're free. Take this week. Take every day and talk to Hashem. I know an hour seems like a lot. It can make the difference between you living a life of Gan Eden and a life of Gehenna. And if you're already doing that hour, then please think about what you watch and what you see. Because these things that you're holding on to that you think is giving you a little bit of happiness within the craziness of the corona, these things that you're looking at or you're listening to, or these articles or these websites or these videos or these books, this music that you feel like is giving you a little bit of joy, it's not giving you joy. It's making you sad and confused and angry. And we have a lot to speak about this, and we're going to have to take time to do it because I'm not going to be able to do it justice in one time of talking about it. But I'm just telling you, the key to being happy is to eliminate lies from your life and to talk to Hashem every day. If you do those two things, you're going to be the happiest person in the world, and you're going to be able to teach everybody how to be happy. Okay? Everybody have a very happy week. This Sunday, we're going to have a class for men and women, and the whole class is going to be about Emunah. If you want to know what Emunah is, if you want to know how to get there, so please attend that class Sunday night at 9 p.m. Please tell your friends about it. And I'm sorry if this class was heavy or it wasn't what you were looking for. You were looking for something more exciting. We'll have that also. But this is just such an important topic. And there's so many people who are struggling with this. And they don't have to. We don't have to struggle with this anymore. Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim. We're not slaves anymore. We're free. We just need to know how. And we need to have the courage to go all the way with it. Okay? I'm here with you. Everyone is here with you. And you will make it out. I promise you, no matter what you're going through. I saw that place. I've been in that place. That place is hell. Hell is not next. Hell is right now when you don't have Emunah. But I promise you, to the degree that you are struggling, to that degree, you can thrive. The Baal Shem Tov says that the greatest souls are thrown down to the lowest places because they're the only ones who are capable of going back up. Rabbi Nachman says, don't think that your problem is unbearable, even if it feels unbearable. Because Hashem gave it to you, it means you're strong enough to go through with it. I remember while I was depressed, I kept saying to Hashem over and over again, this was part of me judging myself favorably. Hashem, you must think I am the strongest soul in this whole freaking world because nobody could get through what I'm going through right now. Nobody is going to be able to go through what I'm going through right now and get out. You must think that I am so strong. You will get out. And when you get out, it's nothing like you experienced before. You're going to live a life of peace. You're going to live a life of contentment. You're going to live a life of manucha, of rest, of joy, of inner happiness. That you don't need to get a coffee to be happy. That you don't need to go to the gym for it to be happy. You don't need your husband to give you a compliment to feel good. You don't need to look a certain way to feel good. You're just going to be happy because you're going to have a munah. Mashiach is going to come when you have a munah. Your redemption is going to come when you have a munah. I bless you that you should invest everything in trying to develop and acquire a munah, and then you're going to be the happiest person in this whole world, and you're going to teach everyone how to do it. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I'll see you guys Sunday night, Bezrat Hashem, and the women's class next Wednesday.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to get... so when you say emunah, right? When you go through some hardship in the path of your life, and you say, leave it to Hashem, what is exactly that you need to do? Just go through the pain and know that just this is the period. I just have to deal with it. And
it means go talk to Hashem for as long as you need to until the problem is resolved.
Mm-hmm.
It means that if you can't pay your bills and you need to pay your bills, scream to Hashem, I need to pay my bills, and I'm in the middle of a coronavirus, and I'm taking care of my whole family, and I don't have peace with my husband, and I can't take this anymore. I need your help now. And when you see that a check comes to your door out of nowhere, you're going to realize that Hashem is just waiting to hear from you. I can't tell you how many times that I let myself just give myself over completely, to let myself feel vulnerable and to finally trust something for the first time in my life, and how quickly Hashem saved me in whatever situation I was in. And this is not because I'm special or unique. I'm nothing. Anyone can do this. It just takes you allowing yourself to feel vulnerable and to trust Hashem. And that's not easy, but it's harder not to. And to give it over to Him completely and say to Hashem, Hashem, I need your help right now. I need your help now. Please help me. I can't go another day like this. I want to be close to you. I gave up this and this for you. I went to Israel on birthright, and I went to seminary, and I learned from different shurim, and I hear from different rabbis, and I alienated friends and family, and I try and keep mitzvot, even though the people around me don't want me to. I'm doing my best I can from you. I need your help now. I need your help. Be honest. Say the truth. Tell Hashem what you need. It doesn't mean being grateful. It doesn't mean to blame. It's just saying what the truth is. This is the truth. And give it over to Hashem. Breast lovers, if you ever seen them, they get up at 4 a.m. and they go outside and they scream to Hashem at the top of their lungs for 1 hour. And then they feel happy the rest of the day. We need help. We need help. Hashem is the only one who can help you. So ask Him for help. And you say, what does it mean to believe in Hashem? Talk to Him. What, you want to believe more, you don't feel like you believe in it, so talk more. And when you talk, be more honest. And give it over to Him. Hashem, if I don't have peace in my home, that's on you. Because I'm trying my best and it's not working. I need you to take care of this. I need you to help me because you want me to have peace in my home. I'm trying with my kids and they're not going the way that I want them to. So I can't do it. I need you to do it. You want this, so help me. And He'll help you. And then you'll realize that all the distancing was just for the sake of being brought close.
So when I speak to Him, with the house full of kids and nobody, everybody's home, I try to find a park where pretty much everybody's walking around you, and just like you said, a lake or whatever. But when I speak to Him, I become very emotional. So I really, really like cry and stuff. I'm not sure where to find a place where people don't think I'm crazy.
Uh,
And when is a good time? Nighttime, daytime, morning time? I don't know. Like, when is the best time to do it?
Nachman says the best time is before anybody gets up.
Uh-huh.
If that is impossible for you, like it's difficult for me, either because you are not a morning person, or you simply can't. Any time is a good time, but he says before everybody gets up, and the world starts to be busy with nonsense. So it's good for you to just go outside and just lay it all to Hashem, because you're gonna have peace of mind. But any time is a good time. And you need to make sure that wherever you go, you're not worried about other people seeing you, and therefore ask Hashem to find you a place that you can do that. And in the end, and I say, and I'm going to say this again, you can either be normal according to what society thinks is normal, or you can be happy. And I tried to do both for a long time, and it doesn't work. And nobody's going to tell you that, because they don't want you to give up and to back off, because it's so important. But I can only be honest with you and tell you that what the world deems as normal is going to make you very angry and very sad and very confused, because that's how the whole world feels. And therefore, you have a choice. You can either be normal or you can be happy. And I'm done being sad. I refuse to be sad. And I refuse to be angry, and I refuse to be confused anymore. I want to be happy. I want to be a happy father. I want to be a happy husband. I want to teach other people how to be happy. And if that means going outside and crying to Hashem and screaming to Hashem and looking like an idiot, I don't care anymore. I just don't care. And obviously everybody has their own prerogatives, and everybody has to make those decisions for themselves. But for me, it's just not worth it. How I look, it's just at a certain point, it's just not worth it anymore. And the truth is, when you are actually happy, then everybody is going to want you. And everybody's going to want to hear from you. And everybody's going to want that, because everybody's looking for that. You know, the word Mashiach, if you flip the letters around, it spells Yismach. He's going to make happy. His whole mission is to teach you how to be happy. And to be happy means not to be normal according to society, because society makes you not happy. That's why nobody's happy, because they don't have Torah, because they don't have truth. And Rav Nachman says the key to being happy is to think about truth. The truth can only make you happy. The reason why you're sad is not because you're thinking about something that's true, it's because you're thinking about a lie. Because truth can only make you happy. So if you're sad, it's because you are investing in a lie. And that lie, I guarantee you, is coming from society. And I give you a blessing that you should have the courage to make that same decision, and to realize that nothing is your happiness and your family. It's just not worth it.
Thank you so much.
It's just not worth it. However, it's a small price to pay for peace of mind and to achieve your dreams in your life and to help the world come to redemption. Okay?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Everybody have a great night.